Okay, hello everybody, welcome to the lesson today. This is the third in a series of lessons which I'm making about English verbs. If you watch the first lesson, you will see a nice summary of what I'm talking about in these videos. Some English verbs are followed by gerund. Some English verbs can take that and a clause, but not all of them. Some English verbs are +2 plus infinitive, like refuse and agree. And some English verbs are plus subject +2 plus infinitive, the most famous one being tell. He told me to do my homework. So verbs work in a number of different ways, and this can be very complicated. Second complication is the meaning of some of these words. My students seem to mix up, confuse. They confuse refuse and deny. Now these are very different words. If we look at the word refuse, refuse means it's when you say I don't want something. So maybe somebody offers you a job and you refuse the job. You refuse to take that job. Okay, so refuse is when you say I don't want something. Deny is when you say it wasn't me. If you deny killing someone, you say it wasn't me, I didn't kill him. If you deny stealing something, you say I didn't steal the money. So I want you to first of all be clear that refuse and deny are very, very different. Refuse means you don't want something, accept means you do want something. So you can refuse an offer, you can refuse a job, or you can accept an offer, you can accept a job. You can also say accept that. Here accept means it's very similar to admit. When you accept that someone was right, for example, I accepted that he was right, or I accepted the invitation. But if you want to use that, I accepted that he was right. So you can use accept and that, and then it kind of means admitted. It's very similar to the word admit then. It means that you accept that someone is true, that someone was correct, or that someone was right. So accept is possible plus that. However, if you refuse to do something, I would say that the opposite would be agree to do something. And they both have 2 plus infinitive. So let's look at some examples. They refused to let him on the plane because he had been drinking. This is quite common, I think, in an airport. If somebody arrives and they want to get on the plane and they are drunk, well, usually the staff will refuse to let that man on the plane. So it's refuse to let a man on the plane, refuse to do something. And I want you to notice that we use past perfect down here. We often use past perfect, had done, had been doing, in reported speech, very often. And you will see that we use it over here and over here as well later. Something to remember to help you with tenses. Reported speech often uses past perfect. Okay, the opposite would be agree. For example, perhaps you go to a bank, you want to borrow some money, and they agree to lend you some money. So the bank agreed to lend me the money. Now, agree can be used in a that clause. So let's use this sentence, but with that. They agreed that they would lend me the money. Now this would is important because it's also very common in reported speech. Why? Because will becomes would in reported speech. If you say I will do my homework, and I say okay, the student told me that he would do his homework. Will becomes would. I will do my homework, he would do his homework. Okay, so it's something else to remember with reported speech. You will often see would. So here is agree to do something, the opposite of refuse to do something. But let's now look at admit and deny, because these are different from refuse and accept. Accept can be very similar to admit if it's accept that. As I accepted that he was right, I admitted that he was right. So admit can take that, and deny can also take that. They're both possible with that. But first of all, let's talk about the noun after admit and deny. We can use just admit something. He admitted theft. Theft is a crime, the crime of stealing, a thief. It's related to the word thief. So he admitted theft, but he denied murder. Okay, this means that he said, yes, I was guilty of theft, I committed the crime of theft, I stole something, but I didn't commit the crime of murder, it wasn't me. So deny is when you say, it wasn't me, it wasn't my fault, I'm not guilty. Okay, so deny is very useful, and admit is very useful, especially in concerning legal and criminal problems. You can also use the word that with both of these verbs. He admitted that he had stolen something, he denied that he had killed somebody. Again, notice the had killed, had stolen. They're very important to use this reported speech, to use past perfect, had done, had been doing as well in reported speech. So we could use admit that or deny that, but we can use gerund with these two verbs. We must use gerund, not to plus infinitive. Gerund, for people who still don't know, is ing form. So let's, instead of he admitted that he had killed her, we could say he admitted killing her. And this is the easiest way, because you don't have to use past perfect, it's easier to report it this way, it seems to me. But you must remember that it takes the gerund form, the ing form. And the same for deny. He denied stealing the money. It's the easier way, in my opinion. Okay, I hope that these verbs now, there are quite a few here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there are 5 different verbs. I hope that they're all clear, but they may not be, because these verbs take many different forms and they're used in many different ways. So if anybody has any questions, I would really appreciate it if they put them under the video, and I will answer your questions. It could be about any of these verbs, but I would prefer it if it was on this topic. But please ask me questions, I'd be delighted to answer them. Please subscribe if you've enjoyed this lesson and would like to receive more over the next few weeks. Here are some videos on phrasal verbs, auxiliary verbs, tenses, and verb forms as well, like gerunds and to plus infinitive. Please watch them and try the quizzes below the videos, and I hope that you improve.